So, Christmas Duck. Christmas Duck, is a fan. Hi, I'm Steve Gaynor. I'm the co-founder of the Fulbright Company. We made Gone Home. I was the writer and designer. And thank you for taking a look.
Hello, my name is Kate Craig, and I was creating a lot of the environment assets for the game. Not all of them.
Oh man, mom handwriting. We went through a lot of different moms for handwriting. A lot of different moms contributed handwriting for our game. At first,
The Goodfellow High School jacket and yeah, the biggest purpose of the card was to say, oh, Sam is 17. You know, if you look for this thing, but there's so much we need. The fact that there's speed.
The sunset light in this house is the saddest thing I've ever seen. I just want to sleep. When I'm in the attic.
Hi, I'm Chris Remo, the composer on Gone Home. In my commentary tracks, I'm going to be talking a little bit about what went into creating.
This is where you find the first half of Sam's locker, or I guess.
Hi, this is Corin Tucker from Heavens to Betsy. And Heavens to Betsy was a band that formed in 1991.
When you're putting like land.
so these are all the VHS tapes, or most of them, in the house. And these.
My name is Sarah Grayson, and I do the voice of Sam Greenbrier in Gone Home. Currently based out of Portland, Oregon, so right around where.
So here's one of Dad's pulpy JFK books. He's now moved on from primary sources to theories about how JFK was killed. However, this one purports to contain the truth. The publishing company is a doofy inside joke because, you know, there's Harcourt Brace, the publisher that exists, and so I was trying to think of a good name for a publisher, and being a big nerd, I immediately thought of Harcourt Fenton Mudd.
One of our favorite movies is The Apartment, which was directed by.
The doors were actually one of the hardest things in the game to get working correctly, and I know that they're.
Here we have Fresh Magazine, which is a synthesis and pastiche.
Inside of this file folder, you find the first combination code in the game. This code goes to Dad's locked filing cabinet, and it's 0451, which is a bit of.
Most of the bookshelves in the house are filled with
Sam's story slash.
This is our old-timey record that we got from archive.org, source of all good things. It's by Adrian Rollini.
I feel like one of the best bits of advice was actually from the Fulbright team before going in to do the first recording. And it was a suggestion that I should watch some episodes of My So-Called Life, which was great because I'd watched them all when when they were actually on. It was one of those favorite shows my sister and I would sit down and watch every week. And so going back and watching them was definitely not a hard chore to have to do. So I basically went through all of the episodes I could find online in a couple of days. So it was a bit of a sudden binge watch. Lonnie came over today, but everything was different. She was sitting at my desk chair, and she wouldn't look at me. Finally, I asked her what was going on. She said she felt like she'd done something wrong that night in the city. Like I must think. But I said no, there was nothing wrong. I just wanted to say. But I couldn't find the words. I felt like I was gonna cry, but I wasn't sad. She got up and sat next to me on the bed. I looked at her.
Composing the ambient exploration tracks definitely ended up being the weirdest part of creating music for Gone Home. The audio diaries tended to take.
One of the larger assets that we needed for the basement to really give it character and personality was a furnace. And when we were initially thinking of the furnace, Steve had mentioned to me the furnace from
Oh man, this thing.
So 2 things. 1, Mom's Canadian.
Yay!
2, Mom didn't start out Canadian.
You know, there was kind of this intellectual cross.
So there's this little scrap of paper that's hidden under this bedside table, and you start to read it, and then Katie makes you stop reading it. And it was this thing where it's an exception to the
Putback is the feature that I'm happiest with in the game, and it actually.
There's a little bit of concern on my part before any of this got started that you never know how much liberty you're going to be given and how much over direction you're going to get, because somebody hears it like a specific way, and if you deviate from that at all, you're just going to keep doing the line over and over and over again, like 50 times until it's right. So I really wasn't sure what to expect, but even on the first day getting in there and being able to go through a few of the lines.
The music for Gone Home was mainly composed over 2 separate periods, roughly a year apart. A version of Part 1 of the game.
Fanzines, I mean, that's one of the things that we started doing right away, was doing these Riot Girl fanzines, and everyone would contribute and write.
So earlier in an earlier version of the story in Gone Home, Sam and Lonnie got caught together, and Lonnie's dad was...
All of the sliding doors that you see in the game are actually, from a code perspective, drawer.
Writing Sam...
You know, it's really about the ideals that we were trying to get across in our music. You know, I think that the move to equality for women and for everyone in the...
So I'm Sarah Argidale.
When you put out any sort of content about your game,
For a long time, the kitchen was not going to be mid-renovation the way that it is. And it's one of those things that I think that necessity...
Definitely the second half was where a lot more of the emotional...
Oh, you found an Easter egg!
Who found it?
You found it! This is the best! You looked up! No one in a first-person game looks up!
Because there's no rewards to looking up.
Because it's hard to look.
So that was probably the hardest one we...
I'd already played through the first full half of Gone Home before I started composing any music, which was really important to understand how the game felt and played and looked.
Really early on, I thought we didn't really give Kate very specific direction for this. She gave us some... So you want to talk about this fucking jazz mug?
Nobody wants to talk about the jazz mug.
Well,
It's
except
the
for
worst.
Carla.
I hate it. It's the worst.
that was such a common theme
Yeah.
when we were like approving assets or making stuff visually for Gone Home. Is just like, oh my god, that's hideous. I fucking hate it. We're putting it in the game.
Yeah,
because
so
like
much
just
of
like
that.
awful '90s furniture and like
Like
the
we see it in a secondhand store or like
or you
just
see
on
it
the
in the
internet.
Sears catalog
like,
we
yeah,
bought,
it's
and it's just
true.
like there's
We
so
just
many
feel like,
fucking
ugh,
ruffles on it. I want
ugh.
to puke. Like the wicker furniture in
Yeah.
Mom and Dad's room.
Right.
It's like that's.
We never really discussed the idea of individually scoring each audio log ahead of time. I just got an email one day from Steve after
I had seen Bikini Kill and Bratmobile play their first show at the North Shore.
Around here, you will find some of Sam's. So these are stereoscopic. Mom and Dad are much more actively religious.
one of the assets that I really liked creating in the game were these board games. So there's 3 in total of them throughout the...
Yeah, I ended up being pretty happy with this. This is the only picture of Lonnie that we had for a really long time.
I was one of the hosts of the Idle Thumbs video game podcast for a year or 2. Barfburger is enjoyed by all. So a lot of Gone Home is about
The boxes of tampons that you can find in the...
I mean, one of the most comforting things in the world to me is having somebody like brush my hair or stroke my head like my mom when I wasn't feeling well.
The life cycle of the condom.
That's not a real thing, Steve.
The life.
One of my favorite things that came out during development was someone wrote an email mistakenly referring to
Another board game. This one wasn't done by me though. This one.
So there's a lot less density in the house than there would be in a real house. Like if you look around your house, there's just junk piled everywhere. Probably.
Maybe
like
it's just our house.
I think it's most house.
Oh, you're right.
But so our strategy was you either fully. Almost none of the events, the little events in the game, are scripted. As
I really enjoyed playing Gone Home. I have to say it was pretty exciting to find the Heavens to Betsy tape.
Okay, the Wildfire book. Oh, man, look at this thing. Yeah, this was another one of those situations in which I totally felt like a weird creepo when I was doing research, and there was a lot of really horrifying romance novel covers. This poor guy,
you want to talk about a place where Christmas Duck?
this is where Christmas Duck goes.
Oh, it's Christmas Duck's little house.
It's his little house, that's where he goes.
I think this is one where I love the way
It's one of those things where we had always wanted to. Well, so this is the last room in the game, or at least the last room chronologically in the story.